Hey, what's up everyone? Morey Croson here from the Performance Lab of California, and we have a new breakdown for you today on Oblique Seville. He is a sprinter out of Jamaica. He's one of the big up-and-coming sprinters out of Jamaica, and he is one of the fastest, top 5 fastest under 20 youth athletes, and so we're going to go ahead and give him a breakdown here today. And big thing that I would say is, the whole idea of don't make this mistake is really the comparison here of Oblique, and I don't know the man's name here in lane 7, but we can see a big difference here in, what happens during the actual race in regards to the start. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent, start in a good position. And the big point of this is, as much as I think the start is important, really it's that transition phase. You can go through these first 5 steps, and really that's, that kind of initial, or even the first 3 steps is really that initial start. And in these first now 5 steps here, we can see that the guy in lane number 7 really looks to be ahead of everybody here. And what happens is, once you get into step number 5, you can see Oblique starts to stand up a little bit more. Right now he's into step 7, step 8. Now he's basically looking up, and really a lot of the guys are starting to, get their posture in a little bit more upright position. But the guy that actually had a really, really good start is still staying down. Now we're at step 8 here, 9, 10, 11. You can see now Oblique is really driving. He's really hard in that transition phase, which is important because you want to be able to get out of that start phase. Yeah, it's important for those first, again, 3 to 5 steps. You got to stay low and you got to drive, but then you got to be able to start getting your spine up and then driving your knee to make it so now you're able to work on how much overall stride length you're getting. When you first start, it is about length, but it is also a lot about frequency. You got to get those legs going fast, 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 fast. You want to get some length, but really like a Justin Gatlin, he doesn't take very much steps, or very long steps at the very beginning. He's just so quick when he's getting his legs going, and then he starts opening up. And we can see Oblique does a good job of having a good turnover, but then once he gets those legs going, now he can start changing up his posture so he's a little bit more upright. Okay, I lost the amount of steps here, but let's say we're at 12, 13, 14-ish, right? Now look at how much more upright Oblique is than the man here in lane 7, right? And what happens is that he really starts to lose his lead, and that's just because he's staying so far down. He's not allowing his hips to come up. He's not allowing himself to, start to increase the amount of distance he's getting with each one of his steps, and he's in a bad biomechanical position in his spine. Okay, so by having this length in the spine, now you're getting yourself in a good biomechanical position to really maximize how good your stride length is, as well as how good your stride frequency is. So you're starting to be able to build and build and build, and that's what Oblique Seville does, and that's why the transition phase is so important, because right here, you can't tell who's going to win the race. We have no idea. Any one of these guys could end up breaking away. But what makes it so you end up breaking away is your ability to transition, and then from that transition phase, being able to get into that top end speed phase, and then be able to hold that top end speed very, very effectively. So we see guys that are very good at getting through, getting through their start and into their transition, right, and they end up being a little bit more ahead. Okay, then we see guys that are effective in their actual transition phase, and so they're able to stay with the top guys. And then, once you get into the top end speed phase, we see guys that are really good at getting there. Christian Coleman's a good example where he's great through his transition phase. Then at the top end speed phase, he kind of struggles in there a little bit and ends up getting caught sometimes because he gets to that top end speed phase so fast that it becomes difficult for him to maintain that top end speed phase for a long period of time, right? So you want to be able to do a good job of getting through that transition phase and then getting into the top end speed, and having that top end speed phase being a part where you're really at that top speed, and you're doing that for only like 30 or 40 meters. Once you have to do that for like 60 meters, it becomes a little bit more difficult. All right, anyway, we'll get back into the actual run. So notice Oblique, now he's pretty much into his full stride. Now he's just going into maximizing his overall frequency. Now once you get to your full stride, now you just got to start getting that turnover. And as you get that turnover, the momentum from the turnover for every action, there's an actual reaction, makes it so now you can start increasing the length again. So once you could begin, okay, now you're getting that nice turnover, and the length begins to really be effective, and you're feeling comfortable with that length, and then you're starting to gain that speed. Now, naturally, what happens, you could open up a little bit better. Now you could see Oblique Seville starts to really open up and get that nice extension there in his knees. Look at how he's doing that. Look at that nice extension where, now we go back to the guy in lane 7. He's just starting to be able to open up in his legs because he stayed down for so long. So he's just getting to the point where Oblique has been for, maybe 8 or 9 strides now because of his inability to really open up. You can even see once he, goes from his head being down to now his head being up, now he can start opening up a whole new level. We're talking about this guy right here, right? See how now he can start opening up. So this whole time he's been keeping himself down and is making it so now he can't open himself up. And now he's wondering why everybody's passing him, right? It's because you just stayed down for too long with your head, right? Look at this, even this guy right here, look at how far back behind he is, but because he reached his head up, now he can start opening up in his spine, and now he easily starts catching these guys, okay? Going back to Oblique Seville, it ends up being really how well can you get that knee extended, and then from that knee extension, how well can you land back in front of you. You can see, and what makes it so he gets such a good knee extension is look at that turnover. Look at how he lands with that foot right underneath him, and then as he pushes off, how close he keeps that heel to his butt. I see a lot of guys, look like here, where you're letting your foot get too far back behind you. Actually, that's not too bad of a job there. Let's see a good example of right here. Okay, watch this guy, how he's letting his foot get so far back, right? See how far back he's letting that foot get? Especially that left one. So now he can't get that same amount of turnover in his leg, right? So now he's getting, people are passing him because he's not able to get that knee as high up and get as much of a pull. So he's not going to be able to create near as much overall speed as like Oblique Seville, who's really primarily with that knee out in front. He's just driving that knee in front so quickly. And a big part of what he's doing here, and I'm not necessarily, I'm wary on exactly how we can advise this, but if you see, once he gets this extension here and he begins to pull that leg underneath him, he kind of does like a forward flexion of his head to make it so now the head and chin are kind of out in front a little bit, which makes it so now he can land a little bit more with his head and foot underneath him, but it kind of leaves that hip back, leaves that spine back, but it allows him to still get a nice turnover. So, that's why I say I'm kind of worried about it, because it looks really good from this perspective, right? Like that's an excellent position to be in with that foot so far off the ground now where you can create so much pull, and now your foot contact time is going to be absolutely nothing. When you're able to, create that much straightening in your leg and then drive your foot underneath, that's going to make it so your foot contact time is going to be so small that you'll be able to just feel like you're floating through. And that's what those guys, you watch Usain Bolt, looks like he's floating, and that's just because he does such a good job of maximizing that turnover. So when he's touching the ground, he just doesn't have to create very much force at all. And most of the overall force that happened is when he's driving here. So now he doesn't have to create a lot of ground force, which the ground force is what makes it so you end up having the injuries and the overuse problems. But if you could have that really effective turnover and just maximize that, that's going to make sure that you could really become a really strong sprinter for a long period of time and not put too much stress on your body. Again, like a Justin Gatlin is a similar way, right? He's able to run for as long as he did and still does because he just maximizes his turnover, so he doesn't have to create as much ground force. He just has to, be able to be very fast twitch and have a lot of really great range of motion. All right, guys? As always, thanks for watching these breakdowns. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'll put the link to our speed program here in the link below, or in the description below. And we're gonna have some new stuff coming up here in 2020. I'm gonna have a speed course coming out to really help you guys in understanding how you can run faster. So I hope you guys can use that. And looking forward to another big year in helping athletes get faster. If you want to know any more about what are some of our programs, we'll be happy to talk to you and answer questions like that. All right. As always, we'll talk to you soon. And have happy holidays.